Prepaid expense invoices cover situations in which an expense is paid in advance in one accounting period, but the underlying asset will not be consumed or realized as an expense until a future period. If the future period spans several months, many scheduled distributions may be required to fully expense the prepaid amount. These liability amounts are carried on the balance sheet as a current asset. When the prepaid expense is recorded, the current asset liability account is debited, and the entire prepaid amount and accounts payable is credited. At each scheduled distribution time, a portion of the prepaid amount is credited and the expense account debited. To set up a prepaid expense schedule, navigate to Accounts Payable, Processing, and record invoices/credit notes. Select your company, subledger, date of record, supplier, and invoice number. Fill in the other fields as applicable, including the purchase amount. Next, select Prepaid Expense from the right-hand side of the screen. The Prepaid Expense Amounts field will be populated with the amount from the Purchase Amount field by default. This amount can be lower, but no higher than the purchase amount. Specify the number of postings. To indicate the number of scheduled postings, the prepaid expense amount will be broken into, with a maximum of 999. The program will do the math to indicate the per posting amount, and if there's any remainder, it will be added to the last transaction line. First deferred posting. Indicate the date you wish to have the first deferred expense posting made. This date will populate the first row in the grid section of scheduled transactions. It cannot be before the invoice's date of record. Use the expense frequency drop-down to set the pattern for the GL postings. The reference will be defaulted to invoice number and description, the name of the supplier, both of which can be changed and act as the defaults for each scheduled transaction line in the grid. For the prepaid expense, set this to the prepaid expenses asset account on your balance sheet. This will be remembered for the next time you use the program. Set this to the default expense account to post each scheduled transaction line in the grid. Click the Load button to view the schedule breakdown. Each field will be populated with the defaults, but can be modified as long as the entry total amount balances to the prepaid expense amount. If you right-click on a column header, you can insert or remove a row. If needed, you can adjust the defaults, then re-click the Load button. Note that all current entries will be deleted and replaced with the new entries. Once complete, go ahead and click OK. When you click Exit from the main screen, you will be prompted with a few options, where you can go ahead and preview, review, and post. Let's go ahead and click Post and view that record. Once defined and recorded, the prepaid expense schedule can be reviewed or edited by navigating to Accounts Payable, Processing, and Review/Edit Setup Prepaid Expenses. Note that only scheduled distributions that have not been posted yet can be edited. An audit trail of the changes made will be generated after updating a prepaid expenses invoice. From here, we're going to go ahead and select our company, subledger, supplier, and invoice number. Changes to the entries can be made using the grid and then clicking Update to process. To post the prepaid expense, navigate to Accounts Payable, Processing, and Post Prepaid Expenses. This journal entry will credit the prepaid expenses current assets liability GL and debit the expense GL specified in the scheduled distribution rows. This step will typically be completed during your end of the month process. From here, we can select our company, subledger, and date of record. Use the journal type drop-down to select what the distribution should be posted again, and you can optionally attach a sticky note. Multiple records can be posted on the same date of record in the Record Invoices/Credit Notes program. That way you can post all prepaid expenses at once. From here, you can preview and update, or directly update the entries. and clicking Review will produce an audit trail.